Architectural Graphics, Video 1. Once you have completed modeling your entire Revit structure, meaning you have completed the site modeling, the structural design package, the interior walls, the doors, the plumbing, cabinetry, and appliances, the windows, curtain walls, railings, interior finishes, interior lighting, you've staged all of the spaces, you've worked on your exterior finishes and your site detailing, you will be ready to move on to the architectural graphics. To create architectural graphics, you will need to have a sense of what you are trying to communicate via your presentation, whether it's a presentation board or a presentation website. Once you have determined the spaces you will need to present, we will produce 3D graphics to communicate the design of the structure. To do this, we will click on the 3D camera button, and once we have created our 3D cameras, we will then go into the settings of Revit to produce the graphics. So once we've selected our 3D camera, we will make sure that all of our views are perspective views, and you are able to edit the offset, which is essentially the height of the camera from the floor. We can leave this at 5'6", that's the default. However, if you want to have a camera from the upper corner of a room perhaps, or lower to the floor, you can change this number. Okay, once we have determined the height of the camera, we will click on a specific space in our model. And be sure to pull your camera all the way through the space to the outside. This will ensure that the outside elements appear in the frame. All right, so once we have created our camera view, based on what you're presenting, how you're presenting, you may want to have a view that's more wide on the horizontal than the vertical, or if the part of your presentation requires you to have a square image, you could also round out the image and make it a square image. That's completely up to the scenario that you have with your presentation. All right, so for this example, I'm going to leave the frame about like this. And once you've created your frame, we will go into the graphic display options in the properties. Now in the graphic display options, we have many different ways to create a 3D image for our presentation. You will produce the appropriate style, shadows, sketchy lines, all these things you will choose custom to what you are presenting and how you are presenting it. So the theme of your presentation board will determine what you choose here. So I'm going to go through and show you all of the options, and then you will determine what you need to do. We have a shaded option that allows you to just show the shade. This example is not fully staged, so most of the walls are gray, but the colors will appear, and that is what is set up in your properties under the shaded tab. Consistent colors, that's another option. And then also realistic, which is another option in your material properties. Now, realistic mode will always lag, so you'll need to, if you are using realistic, just be patient and let the computer fully render your image before moving anything around. All right, so once you've determined the style of the model that you're displaying, you will then go to shadows. You have the option to turn on these or leave everything off. That's up to you. Cast shadows will show you the sun. And I'm going to move out of realistic just to make this work faster. Okay, so we see the shadows here. Let me go back to wireframe just for simplicity here. Okay, so there's your shadows inside the wall or in from the outside in through the windows. We can turn that off. We can turn on just ambient shadows. That'll give you a more artistic look. Or you can have nothing. It's completely up to you. Back up to style, we can turn on smooth lines. That makes your display, your graphic look a little bit line drawn with a pencil or a pen. You can also not use that and turn on your sketchy lines, so it'll look like it was a line drawing with a freehand sketch. So there's the freehand sketch, and that looks pretty good with ambient shadows. You can turn on more jitter. As well. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go back to smooth lines with ambient shadows. Lighting, if you had lighting in the project, which you should by now, this model does not have lighting yet. You can turn on the lighting, and you can also adjust the sun settings. So before, let me show you an example. We had cast shadows turned on. Let me go to shaded view, see what that looks like. Okay, so now we have smooth lines, we have shadows, and we have the sun showing through the windows. In our sun settings, we can change that. So we can decide that we want to have the sun at a different angle in the sky, which will adjust the shadows in the room. So we can change the sunlight to be from the top right or from the top left, maybe a morning versus an evening. You could show that in your presentation. So all of this is completely up to you how you want to present. And I would spend time and play with these settings and make everything the best possible graphic that we can put on our presentation. So don't just be happy with just clicking a few buttons and clicking apply and OK. We want to really hone in and take the time to determine what's the best use of shadows, best use of sun settings, anything like that, and make sure that your graphics are top notch, because the quality of the graphics is going to capture what's best about your design. All right, and also a couple more things. I have not used realistic before. That's going to be your settings when you have realistic on. And then background. Background's very important. Let me go to an exterior view and show you background. So we'll go back to first floor. Let me drop another camera through. Let's say it's right. Pull it from here. Give it some depth. Oh, it's inside a hill. Let's try again. Let me adjust my height. Let's go 40 feet above first floor. Click and drag. Okay, so now we're 40 feet above the first floor. So this is the exterior of the home. One more thing we will do. Right now the camera is 40 feet above, looking straight out. Our eye level is the same. Our target is the same as our eye. So our eye elevation is the height of the camera, and then the target elevation is the tilt of the camera. So if we can change this to 0, then our camera will tilt down so that we can see more of the site. You can also go minus 20. We can do negatives and positives, and that just tilts the camera down a little bit more. All right, so here we have this view of the outside looking off into the distance. So I'm going to click on my graphic display, and I'm going to choose shaded. And I'm going to choose smooth lines, and then let's play with the background. Okay, background can be 3 different things, and that's custom to what you're doing with your presentation. We can turn on the sky, which will give you a horizon line, and then the ground color is a default gray. You can change your background color to the same color as your grass if you would like. So we can change that to, I don't know right offhand what my RGB numbers are, but just for example's sake, we'll just click on one of these greens and click apply. So we can make that match if we want to. Next we can do is gradient. That's going to be a 3 tone so it gradually fades away based on the colors that you choose. I like a gradient background with hidden lines that are smooth. Kind of gives it a nice look. And then our last is the image. Let's go back to shaded. In our background image, we can actually download an image of our site. So for example, if we were designing a home on a mountainside in, let's say, Colorado, and we knew exactly what the site looked like, exactly what the views were from the site, and we had a photo of that, we could put that photo behind our image or behind our model to give a graphic representation of what the home would look like in that exact location. So, excuse me, for example, let me just pull a background photo real quick. I'm going to pause the video for time's sake, find an image, and then I will come back and drop it in. Okay, so I have located a photo here that was just on my computer. Again, you will download one that you need for your specific location. Once you've found the image, click open and it will appear in this window. And here you can adjust the size of the image. You can adjust the height of the image. So for example, if I have the scale is on the width of the photo, and then I need to determine that it needs to go up and down based on my image, I will do that. Let's just say we decide on this right here. And then let's say I want to adjust it a little bit so I can move it back down if I want. As long as I don't have any white boundary on the top, I should be good. Click apply. So this is a way to show realistically what your site will look like. Like so. Same export settings as before, so you'll click on the file, click on export image, all the things, and you will export images and create images all throughout your home based on the presentation that you need. So just make sure that you follow the instructions on the presentation and have fun creating the graphics for your presentation.